What's up, guys? It's Cam Ward. We behind the scenes at the f***ing jersey review, but we gonna mute that part out. But y'all know what I said.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Music City Audible, a Tennessee Titans podcast live. We are live, folks. I'm your host, Justin Graver, full-time NFL podcast producer for Odyssey. And joining me, as always, the managing editor of Titansize.com, the publisher for NFL Draft on SI, my co-host, Justin Melo. Justin, we got a fun episode today here. You and I each conducting our own individual Tennessee Titans 7-round mock drafts. We're going to get the live chat involved, get their thoughts on all of our picks, and it's going to be fun. That clip I played at the top, though, just to get us into the show, was Cam Ward at the beginning of a video the Titans just released on YouTube yesterday, behind the scenes at the jersey reveal. I just love the kid's personality. He's so fun and funny and goofy and awesome. Anyway, Justin, how's it going?
I'm doing well. You're getting a lot of hate in the comments for your Kentucky shirt. I'm not going to get any hate for this FC Porto sweater because we won our Europa League match game yesterday against Stuttgart, taking down the Germans. I love taking down the Germans. It always feels so good. A little throwback to North American history. We took down the Germans once again. FC Porto does it. Hershey, what is it with the middle finger to Sporting? Now, I'm obviously not I'm a Porto guy. Are you an Arsenal guy? Is that why you dropped that comment in the chat, Hershey? Are you an Arsenal fan? Tell me answers. I'm doing well. Dueling mock drafts today. I've been so excited for this one. I cannot wait. And yes, you do look like a bit of a flip-flopper, Graver. I know your parents went to Kentucky, but the Texas shirt yesterday, the Kentucky shirt today, I don't know. Maybe it's a Will Levis support thing. Maybe it's got nothing to do with March Madness. Who knows?
No, it's a Wan'Dale Robinson support shirt. No, I mean, yes, you just said it there, but I'm sure there were people who didn't know. I went to the University of Texas. I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas. I grew up wanting to go to Texas, but both of my parents went to Kentucky. So while I wanted to go to Texas as a child, I had no real allegiance to them. And the first, 17-ish years of my life until I was really set on going to Texas, I grew up born and raised a Kentucky fan. There's a picture of me 3 weeks old wearing all Kentucky baby gear as Christian Laettner is hitting the infamous turnaround shot to knock Kentucky out of the tournament back in 1992. So I've been a Kentucky fan since birth, even though I did go to the University of Texas. And Kentucky plays today. Texas played yesterday. They beat BYU. Suck it, Iron Grids, in your awesome bracket that is 15 out of 16, but missed one game, hook 'em horns.
You guys part of the Audible Army, and you said, suck it, Iron Grids.
And I am a massive Texas fan. They're my number one team, of course. But Texas doesn't play today. Kentucky does. So I'm going to support my parents' alma mater today by rooting for Kentucky to beat Santa Clara. It's the first game up of the day. Tips off in about 40-ish minutes from now. I've got my TV on already. So at 11:15 when that starts, my attention will be slightly diverted. I imagine we will still be on the stream at that time. But shout out to everybody. Sorry, Justin, one sec. Shout out to everybody's brackets. I hope your brackets are doing great. I missed 4 games yesterday, which I'm kind of upset with myself because I really wanted to pick St. Louis and High Point, but I just couldn't pull the trigger on doing it. And now here I am. 2 games I should have got right. I missed. Justin, I don't know if March Madness is a thing in Canada or if you care about it.
I'm going to be blunt. I'm going to be blunt with you, and I'm sad to admit this. I used to love it. I used to be like, it's a big thing everywhere. I used to be obsessed with it. Bracket every year. I'd stay home from school, in elementary school. My parents let me, so I could watch the first couple days. I'm going to be honest with you. I fell out of it a couple years ago. I think because I stopped joining pools, and that really that makes a big difference. And I haven't been able to get back in. I really want to. Feel like I already missed the boat yesterday because I missed all of yesterday. Missed the boat this year because I missed all of yesterday. But next year, hold me accountable. I really want to get back into it. I used to be obsessed with March Madness. I'm sad that I'm not into it as much. Graver is so American talking March Madness. I'm so European because I got to shout out Tombo here. After Chelsea's week, please no round football talk. Tombo, I got to be blunt with you, and I hope that this doesn't lose you from the stream. I wasn't super disappointed. As a diehard Portuguese I root for Vitinha, Nuno Mendes, and João Neves, and I was happy to see PSG dominate that tie. I'm sorry to break it to you, but we've got to get to Gary Soto, Graver, if you want to put that one up. I was floored by it. I didn't want to even take this long to get to it. $50 super chat tip to start the stream. That is unbelievable, Gary. Thank you so much for the generosity. Glad that you're enjoying the Friday live streams. They are here to stay. They are here to stay. You've got nothing to worry about with the Friday live stream. We cannot thank you enough for the generosity. And we'll see you again next Friday. You're damn right about it. So we appreciate it. And we got a good one on deck today with this dueling mock draft.
Yeah, really appreciate that, Gary. Very generous of you. We appreciate your support more than you know. Quick shout out to Jordan here in the chat. Nashville native, Auburn fan, living in Lexington. Go Cats of all types. Go Cats! I had a great time at spring break, my senior year of college, at the University of Texas, walking the beaches in Florida with these massive groups of college kids everywhere, flying the flag of their university. And for some reason, it was dominated by Kentucky students this year that me and my friends from Texas decided to go. And I'm walking along the beach just screaming, "Oh!" And then you'd hear the entire beach go, "C-A-T-S, Cats, Cats, Cats!" And it was madness, insanity. And we weren't even, obviously, we were Texas fans. So anyway, let's get into the mock draft here. That's the whole point of the show, Justin. We've done our six and a half minutes of bantering here. I think that's more than enough. There's probably plenty of people who clicked out of this. You know, they're replaying it. Titans mock draft, not big Audible Army or Music City Audible fans just looking for Titans mock drafts. We've lost those people already, but hopefully you're all still here. We're doing 2 mock drafts. Justin's going to do a mock draft. I'm going to do a mock draft, and we want your feedback. Everybody watching, everybody listening in the live chat. Obviously, if it's after the live stream and you're replaying this, the comments are still very active, and we want your thoughts there too. So Cats by 90 today, says Manny Heffley. I don't know about 90, but that'd be pretty cool. All right, Justin, we're going to start with you. So I'm going to put this on screen here. This is Justin Melo's mock draft. We are using at your request, we are using the Pro Football Network mock draft simulator here. I've already gone ahead and started the mock. So here we are. The first 3 picks are in. You have a trade offer. I'm assuming we're not really doing the trade thing with this mock draft.
No.
So I'm going to reject this trade offer and let you know that you are on the clock with Fernando Mendoza, Arvell Reese, and David Bailey off the board.
Well, I could guess what direction Graver's going in. And for the sake of giving you guys a different experience, you're probably going to prefer his experience. I have no doubt about it. But I am going to, I'm going to make the unpopular decision here and go with Ruben Bain Jr. I know I'm a big Ruben Bain guy. I know there's the arm length deficiencies and all that, and there's been a lot of talk about that, but I'm buying in to him being the outlier. I normally don't like doing that. I don't. I like consensus results and history and what data and analytics and all that tells us. But outliers happen. They do happen, and it's fun when they happen, right? Because you love seeing a guy kind of break away from the expectation outcome. I love Ruben Bain Jr. I know where you're going to go. Oh, am I? Or I guess we're doing my whole mock first.
No. We'll go back to me here. I'm just keeping it up while you talk through your thoughts there.
Shout out to Bowie Tombo, who did not take it to heart that I ragged on Chelsea losing badly to PSG because he comes through with the $10 pound tip. The pound, is that the pound or euro? I think it's the
$10 pound. 10 pound.
Damn it! Yeah, that was so North American of me. That was an American moment. As a Canadian, I'm disappointed in myself. The 10-pound tip from Tombo Brewster here. And listen, Graver, do me a favor. If you could actually convert this to Canadian money, because the way our dollar is right now, that might be $100,000 tip from Tombo there, based on the Canadian dollar right now. So shout out Tombo. My Porto, they got an EPL team in the next round. We're going to play Nottingham Forest. I can't wait to knock them out and advance to the semifinals of the tournament. Appreciate the heck out of you, Tombo.
And Tombo, clearly a Heed the Call fan as well, because a supporter of the batch, he says, thank you for backing up a modern decision that my fiance and I made. And happy birthday to R. Baldwell in the chat. This is the perfect present. No, you're the perfect present, being here for us. So thank you for joining us. We will actually now move to my first pick in the draft, which might shock people. Honestly, I don't want these trades. I don't care about any of these trades. And what might shock people is that Arvel Reese is on the board. Now, here's how I feel, Justin. I don't think Arvel Reese is actually going to be on the board. So I think it would be a worthless waste of time for me to mock draft Arvel Reese right now. For the audio listeners, Fernando Mendoza, Carnell Tate, number 2 to the Jets, and David Bailey are off the board. If you follow this podcast every day, if you're part of the Audible Army, shout out to you guys. You know exactly what I'm doing here. There's no hesitation on my part. The Cardinals left me with Jeremiah Love. So, of course, I will take the Notre Dame running back who can single-handedly reshape this offense. A true playmaker, threat to score a touchdown every time he touches the ball. Excellent pass protector, especially for a young running back. Rookies entering the league, often that's something that they really struggle with. Jeremiah Love does not. Excellent pass protector and great pass catcher. In fact, great receiver as he could take snaps from the slot. He's not just a guy that's going to catch a swing pass out of the backfield or run little halfback screens. No, he can run angle routes. He can run out routes, corners. He can beat slot corners, and especially when he gets matched up with a linebacker, it's a mismatch waiting to happen. Robert Saleh, go get yourself your own version of a younger Christian McCaffrey. Here we go. Jeremiah Love is the pick, which puts the board back over to you, Justin. Second round. Where are you going with this pick? You got top available here on the right. Hard for us to really communicate this to the audio audience, but I'll leave that for you. You took an edge with your first.
Can you take me to wide receivers specifically? If you click offense and then receiver, that's correct.
Absolutely.
I still consider this a pretty big need for the Titans. I know that we necessarily that's not the collective feeling after they sign Wan'Dale Robinson and bring in Calvin Ridley. But for me, I've constantly been talking about a lack of size and physicality in this room. And I know, we had a good conversation, you and I did with Zach Lyons the other day. We talked about how, they're not going to run static formations. And there are scenarios out there where you could have Calvin Ridley, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Chimere Dike as the 3 receivers on the field. I have no doubt that we're going to get lots of looks this year with that being the case, because they're the team's most 3 talented receivers as of right now, right? But for me, I just think about last year, how they, how bad they were as a unit blocking at wide receiver. I think about a lack of physicality. I don't think any of these 3 Titans receivers that they have in the room right now, the top 3, I don't think they're excellent at beating man coverage. I don't think, you try to hide Calvin Ridley from man at the Z. I didn't think Chimere Dike was great at it either. And with Wan'Dale's slot, with size deficiencies, I love him working out of the slot. Maybe I'm too old school. That's fine. I like a true X receiver. Right now, it's Alec Iomanner. And I personally think I'd love to add some competition there. A couple of you in the chat already know where I'm going. I think, actually, one of you just got it wrong. But, yeah, I'm going Denzel Boston here, the receiver out of Washington. Huge frame. He's got a bunch of pre-draft visits lined up. We don't know if the Titans are part of that yet, but I kind of expect them to be. Because I think he said he's got 12 or 14 visits it is. He's one of those guys, fringe late first rounder. Could be there at 35 like he is in this scenario. I like Denzel Boston a lot. Huge catch radius, built in that sort of T. Higgins-like mold. Or Alshon Jeffrey, which you shouted out a couple days ago. I thought that was a good one. I'd really like to see him, in this room. I think he'd add a totally different dynamic. Give Cam Ward one of those big, outside boundary targets that the team doesn't really have right now.
Yeah, and since you totally ignored the offense with your first pick, you got to go address it here. Justin, just tell us real quick, because Chris Bell, we've been seeing this buzz building a little bit over the last few weeks. Chris Bell, if you don't know, pretty talented receiver, big play threat, tore his ACL last season playing at Louisville. And the most recent report, I think this came out earlier this week, is that he's ahead of schedule in his recovery, on track to be healthy by training camp, which is a pretty quick ACL recovery, but not super uncommon in 2026. Is there a reason that you like Denzel Boston more than Chris Bell? Is it about the injury concern, or is it pure prospect evaluation, healthy or not healthy? Boston is, to you, a better receiver than Chris Bell?
My grades are very close on them in terms of the way that, in terms of like my final grade. Very, very close. I really like Chris Bell. I compared him a little bit, and I hate to do it, but I think we talked about like A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel, in the sense that he's got that very compact build, or that like his build is very compact, and he's so strong and physical after the catch. He's really dangerous in open space. He was a yard after catch merchant at Louisville, similar to how the Titans used A.J. Brown in the heavy play action Ryan Tannehill offense. Get him the ball on those crossing routes, those deep overs, the slants, things of that nature, and just let him get to work. I like Chris Bell a lot. I just think the injury definitely plays a big role. He hurt it in November. So if you do the math, it was either very, very late October, like 29th or 30th. I might remember exactly the date. I think it was the 29th or 30th of October. So he's 10 months removed in week 1. Listen, his agent could put out whatever he'd like, in terms of the whatever they're saying about his recovery. 10 months removed in week 1, that's essentially your timeline-ish to getting back on the field. Well, what about training camp? What about OTAs, which is so important to rookies being able to acclimate to the playbook, acclimate to an NFL team, and actually get on the field? So I'd be surprised if Chris Bell has a big impact here as a rookie. Wow, you're this low on Boston, eh, Race? Like Alec, like put it this way. I think you could agree with me. Whether you may feel that way about the player. Alec Iomanner went 130th. You think Denzel Boston's going 130th? NFL teams are a lot higher on Denzel Boston than they were on Alec Iomanner. Now, you're totally entitled to that opinion. He could flop and be a bust, even though he goes 30th or 40th overall. But I think it's pretty clear that Boston is much more well-liked in NFL circles than Alec Iomanner was.
Yeah, look, Denzel Boston, he ran a 6'8" 3-cone at his pro day. At his size, that change of direction ability indicates to me he is a supreme athlete and a guy that can separate against man coverage. Now, a lot of his highlight reel catches involve contested catches, but that's because his contested catch percentage, not his completion percentage on contested catches, but number of catches that are contested, is not that high, actually. But when you're building a highlight reel, those catches look the prettiest. So they're going to make the highlight reels. The wide open ones don't make the highlight reel as much. I love Denzel Boston. I think he's a very high quality receiver prospect with a high floor. I don't know what his ceiling is, but he's a pretty good tackle breaking machine too. Can pick up yards after the catch, win down the field. He tracks the ball really well over his shoulder down the field, just the understanding the angle the ball's coming in at and how to position his body. I don't know. I really, really like him. I think he's going to be a hit in the league, and I love that you're getting him here in the second round.
I'm also surprised to see, there was one comment I wanted to point out, like this one here. You draft a year ahead of need. Bell will be fully recovered, ready to replace. I get that, but
yeah.
But what confuses me about a comment like this, and not to call you out, David, but before the injury, it's not like Chris Bell was consensusly rated way higher than Denzel Boston. And I'm taking the worst prospect here because of, you know what I mean? They were very closely ranked on big boards pre-injury. They were both fringe first rounders, according to everyone, before Bell got hurt. So just keep that in mind when you say stuff like draft a year ahead of need. Boston is a top 40 guy in this draft, and we're taking him at 35. There's nothing strange about taking Boston over Bell here, even if Bell didn't have the injury.
Yeah, and just to further cement the point here, I don't want to get hung up too much on this prospect, but we both really like him, right? And if he's on the board for my mock draft, I will consider him, but I'll also consider the fact that I went offense in the first round. Hershey Forever had a question. This was before we even started the stream. JM has talked a lot about the need for an X. Could you give an analogy to a different sport as to why that specific player type is so important to the offense? I don't really get the nuance. Thanks. I'll start, Justin, and I'll turn it to you. But to me, the X receiver, like NFL offenses, each receiver role, we know this, is a different role. And the thing about X that makes it such a specialized skill set position is that they are a receiver that is typically static up on the line of scrimmage, which means they're, half a yard away from a cornerback across from them if that cornerback is playing in like press man alignment, right? As opposed to a Z receiver who is going in motion. And players who go in motion can't be on the line of scrimmage. They have to be back off the line of scrimmage. Slot receivers also are usually guys who are back off the line of scrimmage. Occasionally, you can line up in a slot position-ish and be up on the line, but usually that's like a tight end playing out of the slot, right? So a guy that is able to beat press man coverage consistently, who doesn't get disrupted by physicality from defensive backs, usually it's a big-bodied guy, strong, fast, quick change of direction, because they usually have to beat press man or at least man coverage more often than zone coverage. And if you look at a guy like Denzel Boston, he is in that mold. And especially when it comes to, like, if you look at his splits against man versus zone coverage, his production takes a dip against zone coverage. But again, you look at those contested catch highlight reels, a lot of them, he's actually facing press man coverage, which is not something that a lot of college wide receiver prospects have on their tape when they're coming into the NFL. Usually the idea of can they beat press man coverage is based on a projection or based on like their footwork and quickness and change of direction. Well, Boston actually spent a lot of time beating press man coverage and did it in college and will have to do it in the NFL. Justin, do you have an analogy? I have one if you don't have one, but I'm curious because this question was for you, actually.
I'm going to give it a shot. I think you're a soccer fan, Hershey, right? Based on what you were saying in terms of like when the stream started, you were talking about soccer. So let's say, at right back, for example, you'd love, especially in today's game, you'd love to have those fullbacks who can attack, right? Like who can get up and down, add something to the offense, add something to the defense. That's important, right? Whereas, there are some cases, some teams, if you don't have a right back on the roster, on the squad, you would never call it a roster in soccer, on the squad, that you're not, maybe isn't capable of playing that position, you move a center back there, right? Like you move like a right-footed center back who has the flexibility to play center back and right back and can do that for you on occasion. But you tend to lose something, right? Like when you're putting one of those bigger center backs at right back, even though he can do it, he's probably not adding a lot to the attack. Right, he's not one of those wing backs who can bomb up and down the field and attack and defend. He's going to defend, and he's not really going to attack a whole lot. So I think that's the best analogy I can come up with to soccer. Like you're sort of losing something by not having that specific type of role player in that specific position.
Yeah, I agree, Justin. We were hung up here on your second pick, and I didn't mean to do this, but this is a legitimate concern and question that a lot of people in the chat are pitching, which is, and maybe it's a regional ties thing, but why not Chris Brazzell with this pick, a guy with the speed to take the top off the defense and really threaten for Cam Ward?
I like Vols fans. Listen, I like him. I don't dislike him. I like Denzel Boston and Chris Bell better, and I think that's probably the consensus. Like I might have considered a Brazzell here if Boston and Bell were off the board. I kind of like him better. Like, what is he? The 47th player, it says there on the board. I like him better at 66 if he's still there and the Titans don't go receiver at 35. And I'm not saying he's definitely going to be there at 66. He might be gone. But I also think it's possible that he's there at 66. So I like him. Look, he averaged a ton of, he was a big success. At the, at Tennessee this past year, like 1,000 yards, 16 yards per catch, whatever it was, vertical, straight line speed, take the top off. I like him. I just don't like him as much as I like Boston. Is Denzel Boston a Dable fit? I think we can answer that one really quickly, Graver. I think all guys who could play X receiver are fits for everyone. I mean, he had big-bodied guys with the Giants, did he not? Like, I always mix them up. Is it Slayton or Shepard that's the bigger guy that played outside for a while there?
Darius Slayton. But,
yeah.
I would compare him to somebody else, somebody he acquired in Buffalo in 2020. Stephon Diggs. I mean, he's not an exact like-for-like comparison to Stephon Diggs, but he's bigger. Diggs probably separates and runs routes a little better, but Diggs was also a polished receiver by the time he got to Buffalo. He wasn't he traded for Minnesota. He wasn't a raw rookie coming into the league. I think, maybe I'm reading too much into a three-cone time, But I think Boston can run routes better than he gets credit for. I don't think he's necessarily a contested catch merchant like some of these guys we see come into the league with that profile who don't hit because they're just not, the contested catch thing doesn't work that much when you can't actually get open. I don't think Denzel Boston is like that. Like, I think he could be he could fill that role that Daboll. Like, Daboll wants good receivers. Yes, I don't know that he wants a contested catch guy, but just because Boston makes contested catches doesn't mean he can't also create separation and get open. Look at his separation scores against man coverage particularly. So, all right, Justin, we're going to go ahead and move on here. We're going to draft Denzel Boston. Going to get to my pick, which...
Sorry, while you're doing that, I'm going to answer the last comment. I'm sorry, I can't help myself.
Yeah, go for it.
I think Daboll employed a lot of quick guys last year. I agree, but doesn't he already have them in Calvin Ridley, Shimmeray, DK, and Wendell Robinson? Like, he's got three fast, slightly undersized, at least one of them, slightly, very undersized receivers. Like, he's got three quick guys already. I'm just trying to diversify the room here a little bit, add a bit more size, physicality.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Justin, I'm on the clock. Obviously, I took Jeremiah Love with my first pick, so I'm straight up right away looking at the defensive players here. I'm not pigeonholing myself into a position, but TJ Parker's on the board, a guy that some have projected as a late first-round pick. I would say traits over production based on last season right now, which is kind of scary. And the last time the Titans drafted a Clemson edge rusher didn't work out so well. Kevin Dodd. But let's see who else is on the board here. Malachi Lawrence, a guy that people are projecting anywhere from end of the first round to top of the third round. Zion Young, a player you talked about a lot the other day when we were going through different round day 2 targets for the Titans. I'm interested in Zion Young. All these draft sites have them ranked in different orders. And D'Angelo Pons is here. If Alontae Taylor's playing on the outside, and Cordell Flott's playing on the outside, and Joshua Williams is your new Darrell Baker, cornerback 4, and you don't feel amazing about 6th round, second-year player Marcus Harris, do you look at somebody like D'Angelo Pons who just won a championship with Indiana to come play the slot corner position in your defense? Like, talk to me about why I shouldn't use this pick on Pons, Justin.
I'm going to answer this question too quickly. Boston's production is good as Brazel's. Yes, he had back-to-back 800-yard seasons and 20 touchdowns across those 2 years at Washington. He was very productive at Washington, Boston was.
With a poor quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very productive. If I was you, I wouldn't use this pick on nickel. It's your mock draft. I shouldn't give you any advice. I want people to like mine better. I say that jokingly. I know what I would do here if I was you in this scenario. That's different than mine. I would not take the nickel corner here at 35. They took Roger McCreary a nickel corner this early. I don't know that they would do that again. And I don't think that was obviously not the same GM. I don't think Borgonzi would do that here at all. I like some of these pass rushers you've got on the board here.
Yeah, me too. All right. I didn't necessarily, I think Pons is probably going to go in the second or third round, but he's just a guy who really intrigues me. I know he's small, he's super undersized, but he's so feisty and physical. And I love the way he plays football. I'd love to root for him as a Titan. But I do think I'm going to take your boy, Zion Young, the edge out of Missouri. I think he edges out Malachi Lawrence for me slightly. I do like Malachi Lawrence, but I think Malachi Lawrence is moving up based on traits and combine performance and not tape. You know what I mean? Is that incorrect?
No, I'm going to be honest with you. I like Zion Young better. I didn't give him any advice. I would have gone Zion Young there. I think he's got a nice polished skill set. Not the most athletic guy. Lawrence is way more athletic, but Young's got such good hands, power, motor. Back-to-back years, I think about 6.5, 7 sacks there in the SEC with Missouri. I like Zion Young quite a bit. I think he'd be a good fit in this room.
I agree. All right, Justin, we've each made 2 picks in this draft. Here's what we're going to do now. Take a quick audio break. If you're watching on the live stream, of course, we're not going anywhere, but we'll be right back, audio listeners. So stay right there. All right. Sorry for the awkward pauses, live stream. Welcome back, audio audience. Justin, you're up now. Round 3. You have a trade offer from the Atlanta Falcons. And maybe in real life, Borgonzi would consider this trade because you pick up a future third-round pick to only move back 13 spots. But in this exercise, we're not accepting trades. So, Justin, you're on the board. You took a receiver. You took a defensive end, Ruben Bain, in the first round. You took Denzel Boston in the second round, and now you have the world is your oyster, I would say.
Take me me to guards if you can. I'm going to cross my fingers here and hope that my crush is available, but he's probably not. Take me to guards. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Exactly how it worked out. I know Gary said go offensive. Show me the tackles for S's and G's real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Not as good a value here at the tackle spot.
Yeah, like, listen, the Northwestern kid would be tempting because I do think there's a chance that he can develop into a future starter at left tackle. But I'm looking at the need at guard, and I'm just infatuated with Keelan Rutledge. You know I am, the Georgia Tech guard who had a combine formal with the Titans that involved offensive line coach Carmen Brasillo. I still want them to re-sign Kevin Zeitler, but if they don't, I honestly think this kid might be plug and play. He's so tough. He's so physical. He's so nasty. He plays and blocks through the whistle. I love this kid. He's one of my favorite players in the draft, period. Yes, Enrique, I still feel good about going guard here. And I see the question about center, Atlas. I'll tell you right now, I'm currently more comfortable with the Schlottman-Slater thing at center than I am with the zero hole at guard. So, yeah. And that's not to say I love what they have at center, but it's better than what they have at right guard right now. So for me, I feel really good. I don't regret anything. I feel really good about the way this is going. Keelan Rutledge.
You got it. I'm a huge fan of this player as well. And honestly, like, not ruling him out if he's on the board at my pick. So let's get over to my round 3 selection here. No, Pittsburgh. I do not want to accept your stupid trade. No, Chargers. Go away.
People might want you to go center or tackle. I don't know.
I know, and for the sake of differentiation, maybe I will, or maybe I'll take a different guard. You know, the mullet, Jennings Dunker.
I thought about
who is just, you know, a beautiful specimen of a human being and would be so much fun, again, to root for. And, like, the memes you could create, I don't care if he's good or bad at football. It's like, get this guy on my football team. Look at him. Like, he looks like an offensive lineman. Iowa, that hair, like, give him to me. But let's see, because I do want to take a look at the centers. I wanted to look at the overall players available here because
I want to address this real quick because Atlas is one of our best watchers on here. I'd rather give Slater a chance and draft a center high. Well, Atlas, if you've been following the news, it sounds like the Titans see Slater as more of a center than they do a guard. Paul Kaharski had a really good story that he wrote about it, and he said that he struggled to keep weight on last year and that they might view him internally as more of a center. So I think he's going to compete at center with Schlottman. I'm just saying, it doesn't sound like they see him as being an option at guard. Just saying.
You know, what's interesting here, Justin, is you actually had Keontae Scott on the board for you, which I might have probably taken here because you know me. I'm obsessed with filling this nickel role based on our conversation from the last round. But he's not on the board for me. I don't feel good about these other corners at this point in the draft. And for the sake of differentiation, I mean, we can look at the centers here. I still think it's early. I think, like, if you can get, like, this is a good group of centers, honestly. Like, all 6 guys I'm seeing on the board here, I would be like, okay, sure, get them in here and see if they can develop them into starting level guys. So I'd rather hope that one of these guys falls to you in the 4th round and take somebody that I think is kind of falling in the 3rd round. Should I take Dunker just to be different? I mean, it would be kind of dumb if we both had Rutledge in our 3rd round pick mock drafts here. There's supposed to be 2 different scenarios.
If you want a guard here, I don't think there's anything wrong with you going Dunker.
All right, we're doing that. A lot of people in the chat are like, man, you guys should take Ted Hurst. He's, wide receiver. I could do that. I haven't taken a wide receiver yet, but I'm not going to because there's other guys on the board that I like that I expect to be there a bit later in the draft. So I'm going to take Jennings Dunker, the Iowa guard with the big red mane flowing out the back of his helmet because that's a cool aesthetic for an offensive lineman. Okay, Justin, you are back up here. And look at that. Nobody's offering you a trade. Finally, we can just move on with our draft. A refresher. Let's do a refresher for the audio audience here. We got Ruben Bain in the 1st, Denzel Boston in the 2nd, and Keelan Rutledge in the 3rd. What position do you want to see?
There's a couple that I've got in mind here. I'm still open to a center. I'm open to an offensive tackle, and I'm open to a cornerback, I think are the ones that I'm looking at here. So if I could quickly see those 3 potentially, that would be great.
Dennis Sutton falling to you here, by the way. Here are your centers.
Wow, I'm
Brian
very
Parker, Matt Golban, Logan
wow.
Jones, Jaeger Burton, Jake Slaughter.
Wow, some good options there. Do you
Yeah.
remember what the Titans' next pick is after this one?
I can just scroll here and tell you this is pick 101, 4th round. Their next pick is 142 in the 5th round, and they also have 144 in the 5th round. So 2 picks over the course of 3 selections.
Love that. Take me to tackle. Take me to tackle.
Isaiah World out of Oregon, Austin Barber out of Florida. Sorry, I'm narrating for the audio listeners, Justin.
Yeah, take me to corner if you don't mind.
All righty. Takario Davis, Washington. Hezekiah Masses, California. Chandler Rivers, Duke. Charlie Demings, Stephen F. Austin. Devin Moore, Florida.
Yeah, you're good. You could stop right there because I know what I'm doing. I got my 2 favorite prospects in the draft, and that might make me biased. I don't give a damn. It's my mock draft. I'm going Charles Demings, the corner out of Stephen F. Austin. I'm a huge, huge fan. A stand on the table guy for me. Terrific size. Became the first player in program history to get invited to the Senior Bowl, by the way. And he lit the NFL Combine on fire. I think the Titans are still going to show interest in these mid-round corners. And I'm a huge, huge Charles Demings guy. And I've already got a plan for my next 2 picks, by the way. I'm thinking ahead like a smart general manager does.
There you go. That's what you got to do. You got to plan ahead. All right, I'm back on the board here on the clock, I should say, and I am not taking this New England Patriots trade offer. Instead, I'm going to look at my picks to refresh the audience. We got running back Jeremiah Love in the 1st, edge Zion Young out of Missouri in the 2nd, and Gettings Dunker, the guard out of Iowa, in the 3rd. On the clock now with pick 101, I'm still interested in corners. I'm interested in linebackers. Hey, Eli Stowers sitting at the top of the board.
You give a damn about wide receivers. Hey, you obviously love what they have in the room.
Well, I do give somewhat of a damn. Let's see who's on the board here. All right. Malachi Fields is sitting here, was probably the best receiver at the Senior Bowl. I do think he will be gone by our next pick. Maybe I should just draft this guy and hope he can develop. Hope Borgonzi can hit again with a wide receiver as the first pick of the 4th round. Screw it, Justin. Give me Malachi Fields.
Reminds me a lot of Alec Iomanner in a way, but I do think...
I agree, but I think a more explosive version, maybe?
Yeah, I do think he's better vertically. He's got a better skill set vertically than Iomanner does. Are we back on the clock for me then, I believe?
Yep, round 5. Here we
I don't
are.
think I'm going to take a lot of time here. Take me to the centers at 1-4. Why don't you let me make both of these picks and then you do the same at 42-44? That wouldn't be the worst idea because they're so close together. Take me to center.
Do you want to talk about Devin Moore really quick while I do that?
I like him. Corner out of Florida. I do think he's a developmental guy. I think that's a good shout. I'm just a diehard Charles Demings guy, and I think Demings probably goes ahead of Moore. That's the way I feel right now, so we shall see.
A lot of your center options went off the board, but you still got one good one sitting there.
I played this perfectly like a real GM should. I'm easily going Jake Slaughter, 3-year SEC starter for the Gators. He's experienced. He's seasoned. He just looks the part, man. I do think Jake Slaughter is going to be a good starting safety. Someone said safety. A good starting center in the NFL. And I can't believe I'm landing him with this pick after I got my starting, or at least a future starting guard in Keelan Rutledge. I love the opportunity to get Jake Slaughter here.
I think he could be day 1 starter, honestly. I think this is a guy that is going to end up maybe going a little higher, but maybe not, because this is a pretty good crop of centers in this draft class. It lines up well for what the Titans need. So let's throw Jake Slaughter in and then reject this trade, and you got another pick, just, one pick in between this one and your last one.
If you don't mind, I'm going to ask to see offensive tackles, linebackers, and safeties.
All right, your offensive tackles, you got J.C. Davis out of Illinois, a guy who played nothing but left tackle for Illinois. Maybe a little better run blocker than pass blocker, but interesting prospect. You wanted what else? Linebackers and safeties?
Yeah.
You got Caleb Elarms Orr. I hope I'm saying that right.
Don't like
Taurine York. I like Taurine York. He's like a coverage linebacker more than anything else. Here's your safeties. VJ Payne, Deshaun Singleton, Jalen Husky.
Yeah, I think I might make maybe not the super popular decision here, but I really like VJ Payne out of Kansas State. The
Okay.
Titans did bring in Tony Adams to be like the third safety potentially, but I mean, that's a 1-year contract, very low money. VJ Payne, I'll tell you right now, I got a chance to get to know him a little bit, did a great interview with him, and it showed up at the Senior Bowl. One of the smartest players in this class, probably, in terms of football IQ, communication, leadership. He's going to be an excellent, excellent addition to any locker room. He was at the Senior Bowl. He was like communicating, getting guys lined up. 42 game starter at Kansas State. He was excellent at the combine, by the way. So he's one of those guys who's got all the mental intangibles and then went out to the combine and showed off a bunch of athleticism. He's rangy. I think he could play everywhere, box, on the back end. I really, really like VJ Payne. He's one of my actual draft crushes in this class. I love the idea of adding him here and having him compete with Tony Adams for that number 3 safety role.
Nice, yeah. I mean, I do think the Titans are going to add a safety. It's more likely that they add another safety than people maybe give it credit for right now after drafting Kevin Winston last year, after adding Tony Adams this year. But Justin, have you even considered this, to go back to your previous 5th-round pick, Jake Slaughter? Imagine an offensive line where one of these guys is at center and the other one's at guard, and you got Slater and Slaughter as two guys standing shoulder to shoulder on the offensive line.
I think it's unlikely to happen, not to throw a blanket on it, because I feel like they're both competing for center if that happens.
I agree.
But certainly, that would be certainly something. I'm thinking Slaughter and Rutledge and how you've gotten 2 starters on cheap rookie contracts.
I'm just saying, Slater, Slaughter. Like, it's
I
funny.
know.
It's funny
I was just
wordplay.
saying, like, I mean, what going is the idea of the 2 cheap guys on the rookie deals, but the Slater-Slaughter thing would certainly be interesting.
All right, I'm back up here. I have taken a running back, an edge, a guard, and a wide receiver. This feels to me like a little too like on the need nose for what Mike Borgonzi's actually going to do, but that's the fun of mock drafting. We don't know what Mike Borgonzi's going to do. I feel like I'm not doing a great job of just taking the best player available, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? But here we are, and that's what we're looking at here. So I also need a center, obviously. And I had Jake Slaughter sitting on the board, Justin. Now, I did want these to be like 2 different mock draft scenarios. So I'll just tell everybody that I really like Jake Slaughter. I think it'd be a great pick here in the 5th round. And I would do it if you hadn't already done it. But for the sake of differentiation, I'm going to go another direction. I'm going to take a look at the linebackers here because I actually really like Taurine York. I think that he is exactly what the Titans need at the linebacker position, somebody that can fly around in the back end and actually cover the hardest part of playing linebacker, like the hardest type of linebacker to find is somebody who can fly around in coverage. And maybe this guy can be developed up into maybe not quite Fred Warner, obviously, but maybe Robert Saleh's new, mid-round linebacker that he develops. I know Warner was a 3rd-round pick, and this is the 5th round, so it's not quite the same thing, but welcome to Tennessee, Taurine York. And then I will have to make another pick here. And I'm not sure exactly what to do. But there are some good corners on the board here. Justin, talk to me about any of these guys' chances to play nickel.
Did you get your nickel already?
No, I do not have a corner yet.
You're going to go with the top guy. I like Chandler Rivers out of Duke. He did play a lot on the boundary for them, but teams are projecting him to nickel due to the size deficiencies. Highly experienced guy, a 3 or 4 year starter, something along those lines, I believe, and a lot of ball production under his belt as well. Chandler Rivers is really, really good, very competitive. And yes, as Johnny says, I do believe he's going to be a nickel at the next level, even though he did play quite a bit of boundary in college. But the size is almost certainly going to kick him inside. You cannot go wrong with Chandler Rivers.
There we go. Chandler Rivers is the pick. And Justin, before we finish out the draft, we each have, 3 more picks to make? We need to take one last break for our audio audience. So stay right there and we'll finish out the 2 dueling mock drafts. As I freeze awkwardly while the live stream's like, okay, get on with it already. Welcome back, audio audience. Here we go, Justin. You are back on the clock here. 6th round pick, I should say. You got 2 picks to make in this round, and then you'll close it out with 1 7th rounder.
I can't believe I'm doing this, but take me to guard.
Take me to guard, he says. Take me to church, he says. He wants to just load up. on
The
the
reason I
interior.
asked is because Tony Pauline recently reported that the Titans have shown a lot of interest in this Oregon player here, Alex Harkey. And the reason I'm taking him is because he actually played tackle at Oregon. Teams are projecting him inside a little bit due to the arm length. But, I mean, they clocked in over 32 inches, so they're not disastrous by any stretch of the imagination. And a lot of teams think he could be a swing tackle and guard for position versatility. He's probably not your future solution to Dan Moore, which is what I would have liked to get in this draft. But I ended up going with the mid-round receivers and then the starter at guard and Keelan Rutledge. So you're going to have to sacrifice something. That's the way drafts work. You're not going to achieve everything you want to achieve. I decided to achieve pressing needs as opposed to ones that are maybe a year out. Because I think Dan Moore is fine as a starter this year. I hate the swing tackle situation. I ranted about it for 5 minutes yesterday when we talked about Austin Deculus. I do think Alex Harkey could come in here and maybe be a backup tackle, maybe be a backup guard as well. We're super late in the draft. Beggars can't be choosers. NFL teams love positional versatility, and Alex Harkey here, does have some versatility on the O-line, so I'm going with him.
All right, I will take Alex Harkey for you and then swap us over to my draft board here as I need, I don't know, I don't really need anything. I've taken a running back, an edge, a guard, a wide receiver, a linebacker, a cornerback. I guess I could use a center still, although I just sort of passed on the opportunity to take one because we...
you know what? You're going to take advantage of these mock draft simulators because I don't think there's any way that Trey Zune is available with this pick. I think he's a borderline top 100 guy. 4-year left tackle starter at Texas A&M, making the move to center. Dane Brugler had him, I think, number 98 or 99 on his top 100 big board. We know how great Brugler is at this. I would definitely take Trey Zune here, and I'd sleep comfortably doing it.
I will do it, Justin. And before we continue with the last two picks, I wanted to answer some questions that I saw come in. First of all, this was an interesting news item that came out this morning before we started from Enrique. Just saw news Titans bringing in Casey Concepcion on a 30 visit. Interesting, given they already have similar player in Wandale. Yeah, we talked about this yesterday, how it's a strange way to build out the room if you add Concepcion, because he's another guy that's a little slender and slight, quick, yards after catch machine, tackle breaker, playmaker. I really like Concepcion. Bit of a drops issue, though, and not like the body profile necessarily that the Titans need to add to this room that isn't duplicative of what they already have. Who Buddy even responded and saying that's a smoke screen. We're not drafting a small wide receiver who led the NCAA in drops. Thoughts on the news that Concepcion is visiting the Titans? And
if he's one of those receivers. We talked about Chris Bell and Denzel Boston a lot earlier. He's one of those receivers that might be in the range available at number 35. Right. I agree. I wouldn't like the pick because again, he's small. I sound like a broken record. They've got some small receivers on this roster, right? They've got some size, some yards after catch. Like, I don't think that's the profile they need. They'd be building the smallest, least physical wide receiver room in the NFL if they take Casey Concepcion. But he's going to be an option. He would maybe be, again, he's one of those receivers that might go in that range at 35. So I get kicking the tires on him. I wouldn't like it for this team.
Another question I saw, also from Enrique. That's just funny. This is about Jake Slaughter. If Jake Slaughter is going to be such a good center, why is he around in the 5th round? I think it's a positional value thing. I think,
and I don't know that he's actually going to be there. I'll be honest.
Right.
I think he probably goes in the mid to late 3rd or 4th. But positional value definitely plays a role in it. I don't think you probably got to trade back from 66 and take him at 75. You know what I mean? If that's the route you want to go, I think you can get better value than taking him at 66, which is why I mentioned the trade back option. Right. But yeah, I don't know that he's going to be there in the 5th round. Probably not.
And then this is the last one I wanted to hit from Brian Badillo. 2 rookies starting interior O-line. Obviously referring to your mock draft where you took Rutledge and Slaughter.
Starting?
But
yeah,
starting? I mean, you have Cordell Volson, who hopefully is not starting, but you also signed Austin Schloutman. You have Jackson Slater. Like, this would be a 3-man competition for the starting center job where if by mid-season you think the rookie is ready to take over or you're not getting the level of play that you hoped for from Schloutman or Slater, Then maybe Slaughter enters the starting lineup after, say, your bye week or something, similar to how they did it with who was it back in the day? Aaron Brewer? No, that wasn't right. Somebody they did that with.
Oh,
Nate.
was it? Oh, damn it. Who was it?
The guard. His name was Nate. I don't remember. The frog
Nate
stance
Davis?
man.
Nate
Nate Davis. Thank you very much. Mine went blank there for a sec. Sorry guys, the Kentucky game started, and I told you I'd be distracted when the Kentucky game started. They're currently winning 8-4, 3 minutes into the game. So I will, when you see my head do this, that is me watching the Kentucky game while we're doing this. But anyway, yeah, you don't necessarily have to have 2 starting rookie O-line from week 1. You know, like you have. That's why you signed the guys you signed, because they raise the floor. And then if these rookies are ready to go, great. You know, if they win a competition in camp or whatever, great. But if not, you're not relying on 2 rookie starters.
This one quickly, Rice School. Don't you think, though, like you talk about having the same energy, but they don't play alike.
Well, read
right?
it, Justin, for our audio audience. They can't see what we're
Everyone
doing.
calling Concepcion small better have the same energy for Omar Cooper Jr., who I, for one, love. I get your point, but they don't play similar, do they? Like Omar Cooper Jr. is really tough and really physical. Totally different, skill set, if you will, than Concepcion. And I do think that makes a huge difference as to why maybe the Titans would or should, in my opinion, consider him over someone like Concepcion, despite the measurables maybe being somewhat similar.
Right. Okay, Justin, back to the best. You got 2 more picks here. You got 1 more 6th round pick, and then you have your 7th round pick.
Oh, boy. Take me to tight end. I was hoping I was closer to being done, to be blunt with you.
You know, while you're looking at tight ends, we did get another bit of news that we never talked about on this podcast, which is that the Titans are bringing in for a visit former Kansas City Chiefs tight end
Jody Fortson. Jody Fortson. Graver's watching the Kentucky game. Leave him alone, ladies and gentlemen. They bring in Jody Fortson, who was with Mike Borgonzi in Kansas City, was there for several years, suffered like a string of injuries that kind of kept him out of the league the last year and a half or so. Kicking the tires on a guy that Mike Borgonzi loves. It is what it is. He caught 4 touchdowns, D-Good. You've never heard of him. He caught 4 touchdowns for the Chiefs in 2 seasons where he actually played. So they obviously they loved him in Kansas City. He was an undrafted free agent that they kept around for like 5 years, like on and off the roster and practice squad. I'm going to guess this is a Mike Borgonzi pet, and he would love to give him an opportunity to revive his NFL career. We'll see if it happens. Take me to D tackles, Graver. I think I've already made my decision. I'll make it quick because we're getting late here. We've talked about the one that's available on mine is not available on yours. I'm doing one on my phone just to see the names a little easier. We've talked about John Franklin Myers playing outside a little bit. If so, I think they could use more depth inside. I'm going to go here with Devon Eastern out of Minnesota. I actually interviewed him recently. He was at the Senior Bowl. I think he'd add in some D-line depth. And yes, there was a recent question about my first 3 picks.
Yeah,
you could read those
just
off,
to review. I'll review all 7 when we finish here because you have 1 pick left. So get back to that in a moment. I'll make my 6th round pick, and then we'll close out this draft. So my picks here. Let me see what I'm looking for. What have I not addressed that I thought I would address going into the draft? Tackle, safety, D tackle, all interesting potential selections for me here. So got to make up my mind, Justin. Let's see what we got on the defensive side of the ball. What safeties are still available? Well, look, Justin, I'm not going to ever lie to our audience. We're past the point of names I recognize. So you tell me what you know about these guys.
Yeah, not a whole lot of safety. Maybe take me to another. Do you have Rayshon Benny at D tackle? You do.
I sure do, baby.
Clearly, they favor this guy over here because I think Rayshon Benny was the pick I was hoping for. Good D-line depth, man. He was pretty, he's disruptive. He's also a really good run stopper. He's a way better run stopper than he is pass rusher. And, I don't, give it up to Vondre Sweat. I don't know that the Titans, I'm a little concerned about what they have at the run stopping position, specifically D tackle. I think Rayshon Benny would fit that mold. In fact, a Jets fan, a Jets analyst, I should say, who doesn't like Robert Saleh. Of course he doesn't, right? He was a failure in New York. He messaged me very snarkily and said he never cared about stopping the run. I'm not surprised you traded to Vondre Sweat. If you do want to fill that role, Rayshon Benny's going to do it for you.
I'm sorry, but I refuse to believe that Robert Saleh doesn't care about stopping the run. That's I don't know how
What
a
an
Jets
analyst
fan.
said to me. And Atlas,
I don't know how a Jets
Atlas, I've been
fan.
meaning to answer this for you. We both took receivers. We decided not to double down because the Titans already have 4. They got 5 receivers on the roster that probably make the roster, the 53. So we're not doubling down on receiver. But fun facts for you: Deshaun Stribling will be calling me in exactly 2 hours from now. I am doing an interview with him for NFL Draft on SI. It probably won't run for about a week and a half, but I'm super excited to interview him. And you better be on the lookout for it. Really excited to do that interview with Deshaun Stribling. Why are you dinging me? Why did I get dinged?
A little self-plug. It reserves a ding.
I didn't tell him to bring up Deshaun Stribling. He did it on his own free will.
Last pick, Justin.
Take me to linebacker. I'm going to make this quick because it's the last pick. I haven't addressed this position yet, although I do think this is not. I've said it all offseason. I don't think this is a big need. I interviewed Jimmy Rolder from Michigan yesterday, so I'm going to go with Jimmy Rolder. Waited his turn, started at Michigan this past year, took advantage of the opportunity, 75 tackles. And when you're picking here, you're also thinking of special teams in all truth. And I think Jimmy Rolder is going to be a machine on special teams.
All right, let's review your draft, and then I'll make my last pick here. You took Ruben Bain, number 4. Excuse me, live stream, folks. Ruben Bain, number 4 overall. Wide receiver Denzel Boston in the 2nd round. Keelan Rutledge in the 3rd. Charlie Demings, cornerback, in the 4th round. Center Jake Slaughter in the 5th. And also in the 5th, safety VJ Payne. Then Alex Harkey and Devin Eastern, a guard and a defensive tackle, in the 6th round. And finally finished up with Jimmy Rolder, linebacker out of Michigan, in the 7th. I'm now making my final pick. And I'm looking
really good
at
about my class. Well, what position are you thinking, Graver?
Well, I was thinking that maybe I should take maybe like a developmental tackle, a developmental wide receiver prospect, somebody I could throw out there on special teams as a rookie, get a little bit of value out of.
My
and then
draft
maybe,
is still on stream, by the way. I can't see what you're looking at.
You know what, Justin? That's a good point you raised there. So here is my draft board. And
there's some good receivers there, interestingly enough. But let's see the tackles for fun.
Yeah, I'd love to get a developmental tackle in here. Somebody with traits maybe that needs some work, but could maybe become a swing tackle if everything shakes out great.
I could see that being Chris Adams from Memphis. I think you can do a lot better. I liked what you had at receiver there if you did want to go with the developmental receiver. Eric McAllister out of TCU is a guy that I've been high on. Very big, very fast, very productive. So you want like an X who's like take this top off speed. There was, I believe, an alleged off-field issue, which is why he might slide this far. I believe it was quite a few years ago in his past, if I'm recalling correctly. Alleged, as I say. But if you want one of those guys, Eric McAllister would make a lot of sense.
I appreciate the advice. If Malachi Fields doesn't work out, we got another guy with a similar physical profile to come in and take his spot. We can review my draft now. Is it going to do the thing where it goes to the next page where the draft is over? Yes, there it is. All right, here we go. No surprise here. I think anyone who watches this show regularly will understand and know and expect. I think we had 2 good drafts here. I can't wait to put them out on social media and find out what the masses think of these drafts. But obviously, with the number 4 pick overall, I took running back Jeremiah Love. Justin, I can't wait to buy a Jeremiah Love jersey in the white. I got my Cam Ward in the blue, so I want the white because I think the white is so clean. But I'm saving that purchase for once Jeremiah Love is a Titan. In the 2nd round, finally attacked that edge position that everyone wishes I had done with the 4th pick and took Zion Young. Then Jennings Dunker. It's Jennings, not Gennings, Justin. And I don't know why you've been saying Gennings this whole episode.
I don't think you've been saying Gennings. I've been saying
Jennings because I know what the hell I'm talking about, Justin. Jennings Dunker in the 3rd round. Malachi Fields, wide receiver out of Notre Dame, Jeremiah Love's teammate, and maybe the best offensive player at the Senior Bowl this past a couple months ago. Malachi Fields in the 4th round. 5th round, linebacker Taurine York out of Texas A&M. Boo. Hook 'em horns. But anyway, Taurine York. And Chandler Rivers, cornerback out of Duke, will slide into my nickel spot there in the 4th in the 5th round. 6th round, Trey Zune. I got a center of my own, and Rayshon Benny, the defensive tackle out of Michigan, and finally closed it out with just like a dart throw receiver and Eric McAllister. I like both our drafts. I think we did something good here, Justin. I like that we both decided that we're going to not pick the same players. We're going to present 2 different scenarios here. And the people in the comments will have to let us know. Do you prefer the Ruben Bain Denzel Boston combo for the first 2 rounds of the draft, or the Jeremiah Love, Zion Young / Malachi Lawrence / insert a different edge player if you think a different edge player would be a better pick there? TJ Parker was on the board, I think, there for me. So which combo do you like better? Let us know in the comments. We can answer any final questions here in the chat, but I am excited to get off this stream and go watch Kentucky beat Santa Clara. So.
Yeah, I don't blame you one bit. I've got to get going at some point soon, too, because I've got a funeral this afternoon. And I've been up against the clock this week to kind of get everything ready that I could take a little downtime this evening to be with family. What about the tall receiver out of Cincinnati? You're talking Jeff Caldwell, Dalen. Freak athlete, right? Like 6'5", ran crazy time at the combine. 3 years, I think, at the D2 level, Lindenwood, put up some big numbers there. Transfers to Cincinnati this past year, obviously a lot more modest production-wise, going from like D2 to the level that Cincinnati plays at, but definitely a late-round developmental receiver. I agree with that. Probably a 4th or 5th round pick.
This is a great shout from Dalen also. He said, I went Ward in white, Love in blue, baby. And we had another comment. I think it might have been on the All Signs Point to Jeremiah Love episode we did the other day, Justin. Love ya blue being so associated with the look that the Titans have thrown back to with the rebrand. It just makes too much sense. You got to go get Jeremiah Love with that pick. And I'll quickly address this because I do have a lot of thoughts on this and we never talked about it. In fact, later in the same day that we recorded the All Signs Point to Jeremiah Love episode, before we released the episode, Adam Schefter goes on, what was it, McAfee? Or I don't remember where he was talking, but he was going out there somewhere saying that he would be surprised if Jeremiah Love went number 4. He thinks Jeremiah Love watch starts at 5. And then you have Easton Freeze putting out an article that's basically just, so Mike Borgonzi was on Peter Schrager's podcast, and he told a story about a smokescreen that they sort of threw out there the year they drafted Mahomes. And Easton wrote up an article about this, kind of summarizing it and why we may not want to believe everything we see or hear right now. I'm going to tie all these points together here right now. So here's what I think. And this, look, ultimately, what you believe this time of year is like a choice. I said this the other day. It is a pure choice. There is no evidence to suggest that any direction that you want to believe with what you're hearing, if this is a smokescreen, if this is not a smokescreen, etc., like, that's up to you. Just believe what you want to believe, and we'll find out on April 23rd. April 23rd, I think, is the draft date. We'll find out what was real and what wasn't. I'll never forget the year that the Titans took, I want to say it was the year they took Corey Davis, and there was a report like the morning of the draft or the day before that like the Titans love O.J. Howard, and if O.J. Howard is there at 5, they will take him. And of course they didn't take him. They took Corey Davis. There was another report that same cycle that said the Titans were in love with Mike Williams, who they could have drafted at 5, and they didn't. So it's always going to be tough to know what's a smokescreen, what's bull crap, what other teams are putting out there to try to like stir up the pot, through anonymous insider out sources. What I think could be happening here is the Titans don't necessarily want it to be known that they like Jeremiah Love, but it's starting to gain buzz that they love Jeremiah Love. And maybe somebody got it to Schefter on purpose. Actually, I don't know where this is coming from. We're not looking at Love at 4. And then Schefter goes out on a podcast and says, I'd be surprised if the Titans take Love at 4. Like, could Titans personnel be using Schefter to just throw chaos out there? They tell Matthew Berry, or somebody gets it to Matthew Berry, that the Titans love Love. Then somebody gets it to Adam Schefter that the Titans aren't actually interested in Love at 4. And then you just have insiders, or not even, Matthew Berry's not an insider, but journalists competing with different stories just to create chaos. Or it could be that the Love train started taking off, and Mike Bergonzi was like, where is this coming from? We don't actually like him. And Adam Schefter heard that and reported it. Or it could be that initially the Titans want people to think that they love Love, and now they don't want people to think that they love Love. It could be somebody from the Giants putting it out there that, no, the Titans don't actually like Love. We want him to fall to us at 5. You don't have to trade up. The Titans don't actually like him. Nobody needs to jump us or the Titans, like, he's going to be there later on. And so let's get Adam Schefter out there to go do it. Like, it's impossible to know where Schefter is getting this information. If it's purely Adam Schefter doesn't think a running back will go in the top 4, but he thinks he could go at 5, like, it could be just his own opinion, not even based on what he's hearing. So I think it's tough to say what's real and what's not. But ultimately, we don't know anything. And we can't assume anything, except for when you've seen the future and you know the future.
There we go.
That's a little bit more concrete to me than just what Adam Schefter's hearing, Justin. I don't know about you.
Listen, you saw the vision. Who am I to go against it? I'm not going to say anything about it.
Let's wrap this thing up, buddy.
That'll do it for today's episode of the Music City Audible. Hope you guys enjoyed the dueling mock drafts. Graver's going to create a beautiful graphic. He's going to send it to me because I want to tweet it too. And we're going to tweet it out there, get your info, get your feedback on social media. Who had the better draft? Wait till this video ends. Let us know in the comments. Who had the better draft? Please let us know in the comments below. We appreciate the heck out of you guys. Until Monday, when we're back with another episode talking about the Tennessee Titans. Y'all stay safe out there and tighten up.
A Broadway sports media production.